In yoga, we use breath and postures as a place to put our mental attention so that we may experience the present moment. And we do this because the present moment is a big deal. It's the only deal. This here, right now, this moment now, is the only thing that exists. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. This right here now is the only thing that exists. And it's kind of amazing when you think about the time and energy we spend on thinking of things that don't exist. Things from the past, worries about the future. We have just a whole list of things we think about that move in a loop or a pattern that take up a lot of our mental space and our time and our energy. So if we can have a practice that delivers us to realizing where we are here and now and relaxing into this present moment where we arrive into the only thing that exists, it can be quite supportive, because this present moment is the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that's real because it's the only thing that we can be sure of. So yoga is a beautiful tool to help us get to the present moment. And we get to the present moment by putting our attention on our breath and the postures that we move into. It doesn't have to be that complicated. You actually don't have to do postures in order to practice yoga. You can simply just put your attention on what it feels like to breathe. You don't even have to put your attention on your breath. You can simply put your attention on any sensation that catches your notice. All we're doing in yoga and all we're doing in order to become present is to become aware of what's right here in this moment for you. And you can do that by paying attention to your breath, your movement, your sensation, whatever it is that's going on in your heart. That's one of my favorite practices, is just getting quiet for a moment and putting my hand on my heart and feeling what's there. For a lot of people that's difficult though, because we have been trained to move our attention out of ourselves. If you're not accustomed to feeling what's within you, start small. Use tools. The breath is a tool, sensation is a tool, postures are a tool. Just whatever you can in the moment, land on, be with it. Just be with it. So presence is important because it's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that's true. And when we can settle into what's real and what's true, we can feel supported. We can cope and manage anything in our lives if we're willing to be present in this very moment now. And another thing happens when we become present. It's amazing. When we become present and we become aware of what's with us in this moment now, we can actually tune in to what we desire for ourselves. We can choose what we want. We can remember that we are in control of how we enter into the present moment. We can choose the manner in which we enter this moment now. We can choose the manner in which we face any interaction or anything that happens in our lives. We can choose. I love this quote from Viktor Frankl, and let me see if I can remember it. Here it goes. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose a response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So what we're wanting to create for ourselves, whether it's through yoga or through any other modality that helps deliver us to the present moment, what we want to create for ourselves in life is space. Space in between that stimulus and response, so we can remember to choose. I call this amazing ability to choose our choosing power, because it is indeed our power. We do have this ability to choose what we want, and we have this ability to put our focus on what we want. And that is called living intentionally. And that is another practice that we do in yoga, is when we can get ourselves into a present state of mind, we can tune into what we want for ourselves, or we can figure out the manner in which we want to enter into our experience. We can choose what we need to support ourselves in our experience, and then we can put our focus there. So deciding what you want and then using your willpower to focus on what you want is setting an intention. It's living deliberately. And when you can make a habit out of living deliberately, you've got life in your pocket. You have remembered that you're a sovereign being and you can decide for yourself. Yeah, things happen outside of your control. Circumstances arise that you have zero control over. You can't really ever control what happens outside of you, but you can control the manner in which you face them. And that actually influences outcome. You can see challenges as problems or challenges as opportunities. And that is another thing that yoga can teach us. As we move ourselves into various postures, we're moving ourselves into varying situations in which we do come up against resistance and tension and shakiness and places where we don't feel balanced or right, or we even feel a little bit scared. And we can choose to see those situations as problems, or I'm not doing this right, or I'm failing, or we can choose to see those situations as opportunities to get to know ourselves in shaky situations. There's another practice or principle in the yoga practice called tapas. Tapas is the practice of facing but not creating pain or challenge or anything that's uncomfortable. We willingly move into these circumstances that arise before us that are potentially painful or potentially uncomfortable in order to grow, in order to connect with ourselves. We can't really get to know who we are or what our abilities actually are or what we're capable of until we willingly move into a challenging or painful situation. If we're always just staying comfortable, we're never really going to get to know the heart of who we are. So we practice yoga for a few very big reasons. Number one, it helps us become present. Number two, it helps us to remember to live deliberately when we're deciding what we want. And then we can focus on that. And number three, it reminds us that situations arise that are out of our control and are even maybe painful or uncomfortable, but we can get to know who we truly are when we willingly face those situations. We remember that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control the manner in which we face them. And that is a amazingly that is an amazing practice that helps us grow. It builds self-trust. So tapas, the practice of facing painful experiences willingly, helps us build self-trust. It helps us believe in ourselves. So if we can, face down those instances that are kind of nerve-wracking, it sends this message to ourselves that we believe in ourselves, that we are not our ego. We're not that aspect of our personality that's only concerned with keeping ourselves safe. We're that higher aspect of our personality that is interested in self-growth and showing us the strongest part of ourselves. Because here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that you can handle anything in life that's given to you. The hardest part about life is your resistance to it. So whatever circumstances arise in your life, face it. And I know that's easier said than done, Life can be so scary sometimes. It's hard just getting out of bed some mornings. I just want you to know that you're strong enough for any moment. You're strong enough in this moment now. Just be here now. Don't go backwards. Don't go forwards. Just be here now and realize how strong you are. So, yoga helps us become present. When we're present, we can become aware of this space that we can take advantage of to choose what we want. And it's in our response that our growth and our freedom lie, just like Viktor Frankl says. And as we choose to respond in the way that serves our highest selves, we can slowly and surely begin to step into that fullest potential that we are. So it all comes down to presence. When your mind is present, you can become aware. When you're aware, you can understand what's important to you. When you understand what's important to you, you can make decisions with that in mind. And when you make decisions with that in mind, your life just blossoms. And as you make decisions with what is important to you in mind, you will come up against challenges. And the way you view those challenges will dictate the outcome, basically. So I think that's all I wanted to say, and I love you and goodbye.